So in my previous video, I had showed you how to set up a Samba server in order to play your games over your home network through an Ethernet cable. There are a lot of things that I did that kind of overcomplicated the process. That's the purpose of this video today, is to simplify some of the things that I did in that video. Eliminate some of the process that I did because some of that stuff was redundant and there's no need for some of the stuff. So I wanted to redo it because I have learned a lot more about using Linux since then. So there are a few things that I want you to know. I am doing this on a fresh install of Ubuntu Server. Now, you can add this onto your existing Ubuntu server or Debian server, whatever it may be. The basic concept is you're adding Samba and you're creating that tunnel to the file structure that you're going to have for your PS2 server. So you can do this on an existing server if you want to, but I'm going to be doing it on a fresh install. Another thing that I wanted to cover before we start is that I do have a already existing memory card that has FreeMcBoot on it. Make sure that you have that before you start this. I will not be showing you how to install FreeMcBoot onto a card. I will only be showing you how to install OpenPS2 Loader onto the card. With that being said, I do want to cover the items that you will need today. You will obviously need a PS2. If you have the fat model PS2, you will need a network adapter. If you have a PS2 Slim, these already have the port integrated inside the system already, so you will not need any other attachment for that. You will need a memory card with FreeMcBoot installed. You will also need some way to host this. You need some way to host Ubuntu Server, whether it be a mini PC, HP Elite Desk, or ThinkStation, whatever it may be. It could be even a broken laptop, a laptop without a screen. As long as you can SSH into it, you should be able to set this up and be able to run your games off of the network. With that being said, you cannot connect your host straight to your PS2. It has to be routed through your router, gateway, whatever it may be. I do not know the technicalities behind this. I'm sure they're not too complicated. I just know that you can't route it from the source straight to your PS2. There are a few things I want to cover just in case there are some people that have some issues with their install with OPL. Sometimes OPL does not save the settings. Sometimes you'll go in there and you'll set everything up. You'll press save settings. It'll be in a constant loop of a loading screen. Or you'll hit save settings and it'll say successfully saved. And you'll boot back in and your settings will not be saved. I'm not entirely sure why that this is an issue, but the only fix that I have found in my experience is you'll have to go into your W launcher and browse through, delete the OPL folder, exit, and go back and restart OPL so that it will reinitialize. That's the only fix that I've found. Luckily, once you get it to save the first time, it doesn't have that issue again, but I just want to give that example to the people that do have issues. So what you want to do first is you want to download this tool called Rufus. This is a tool that will format your USB drive to FAT32. My USB drive is actually at 32 gigabytes, so I can actually do this in Windows, but I wanted to demonstrate this because most people probably have more than a 32 gigabyte USB drive. But what you're going to do is you're going to select it to non-bootable. It'll automatically be on the ISO image, so make sure you put it at non-bootable. You can leave this alone, the rest of it alone. Just make sure that it's at FAT32. Start and hit OK. It should be fairly quick. Then what you want to do is you want to go over to OpenPS2 Loader, the GitHub, and you want to download the OpenPS2 Loader 7-zip. Open this. So you'll actually just open your USB drive, delete all this stuff that Rufus put in there, and then you'll just drag and drop this over to here. Now that that's finished, I'm going to take you over to the PS2. Now that we're on the PS2, as you can see, we actually already have OpenPS2 Loader. We're actually going to delete this one. The reason we're deleting this one is because we don't know what version that is on this. I mean, there's probably a way you can check, but just make sure everything is exactly what we want. We're just going to go ahead and install what we just downloaded, just to make sure everything is compatible. Go into the W launcher. What you're going to do is you're going to go into your MC0, which is your first memory card. You're going to go into apps, and you'll actually mark this, and you want to delete it. And now what you want to do is you want to go over to your mass, open PS2 Loader, and you want to mark this, copy it, go back into the apps folder, and then paste. Now what you want to do is you want to go back to your folder, you're going to go into MISC, and go to your browser. We're going to go back and we're going to fix that application so that it directs it to the right one. Now that we're here, we'll go to FreeMcBoot Configurator. You want to go down to OSD SYS, and you want to go down to your configure item, open PS2 Loader. You're gonna press whatever button you use to press OK, and you want to set your path to where you put that app at. Return, and then you want to return again, and you want to say the config to memory card 0. Go exit. And now our OpenPS2 loader should load us into the correct OpenPS2. Now that we have this set up, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the server side of things and show you how to set it up there. So now that we're over at the desktop, I've already went onto my system and identified that my IP address is this right here, 192.168.12.95. The name that I put in there for the server is DWDRPS. The server's name is PS2 server. The user for that server is DW. And the password for DW is 1234. Now that you have set that up, you want to go into your Windows command terminal and SSH into your system using that IP address that you obtained. It's going to try to authenticate, and it's going to ask for your password that you set up for your user for that server. And then you are in. The first thing you want to do is you want to make that directory inside of your home. So you go ahead and cd into it. Type in ls, and you notice that the only thing that's in there is DW. We're going to go ahead and make a directory for the PS2. And now when we press ls on it, you should see that we have a directory named PS2. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure PS2 is owned by DW or whoever you're setting it as. You could also customize this and make it accessible by a certain group, but I'm not going to get into that. The way to check to see who has access to this folder is you'll put in ls-l. As you can see, PS2 is owned by root, which means DW won't be able to access it unless it's using the sudo commands, or in this case, Samba will not be able to access the folder through the user DW. So you're going to enter in this command, and what this is going to do is it's going to change the ownership of that folder to whoever you set it as. In this case, it's going to be DW. And then you'll type the directory. And what that command does is it makes sure that the directory and all its subfolders will be owned and accessible by the user DW. We'll go ahead and check this again by typing in ls-l. And as you can see, the owner of PS2 in the home directory is owned by DW. Now we're going to install Samba. Now that it's finished, we want to create the user DW in Samba and enable it. I've set the password for DW to be 123. Now that we've created the user, we want to enable the user, which is literally the same thing but with an E instead of an A. Now you want to go into your Samba config file and edit some of the text. And as you can tell, there's a lot of text in here. What you want to do is you want to hold shift and press down. Just hold it down all the way to the bottom. And you cannot just backspace this, you have to control K as in cut it, and it'll take everything out of it. As far as this installation matters is you won't need any of those configurations. And as far as I've learned, the only thing that you're going to need is this specifically. I'll leave this down below so that you can just copy and paste it yourself. But as far as I'm aware, this is all the stuff that you need. Just keep in mind that this is important. You want to make sure that you memorize what you put here. You can change it to whatever you want, but it's just good practice to keep it the way it is. We've set up the path to go to home/PS2, and the valid users is going to be DW. So what I have learned, if you just put this PS2 SMB section, it does not work. Something in this situation here, it does require this. So just make sure you have all of this included. You hit Control X, Y, enter. And now you're going to go ahead and restart the SMB server. And now it should be set up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to go ahead and get into that folder through SMB on your Windows. So go into your actual file browser on your Windows and you'll scroll down until you see network. You'll right click and you'll hit map network drive. So what you're going to do here is you're going to put in your IP address exactly as I show it here. It's going to be // your IP, then / whatever you name your Samba share inside of the Samba config. You just got to make sure that all matches. I do believe it is case sensitive. You put in your user and your password, which is 123. And now you're in the folder. And here's what you want to do. You want to set up your folder structure just like this. And I do believe that they all have to be capitalized in order for the folders to work correctly in OPL. So what you're going to do now is inside your DVD folder, this is where you're going to put your ISOs. And since I own Kingdom Hearts 2, this is what I'm going to put in my DVD folder, just straight into the DVD folder. The ISO doesn't have to be in a folder named Kingdom Hearts 2. It just needs to be Kingdom Hearts 2.iso in order for this to work. Now that that's moved over, we're going to go ahead and head over to the PS2 and I'm going to show you how to set it up from there. Now that we're back over at the PS2, we're going to go ahead and start Open PS2 Loader. And right now, since this is the first time that we're opening it, and we don't have that current OPL folder that we deleted earlier, it is currently creating that config folder. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your network settings. You want to set advanced options to on. You want to set your IP address to static. And you want to set your IP address for your PS2. This is completely up to you. I'm going to set it to a close number to my actual server. So my IP address for my server is actually 192.168.0.95. So I'm going to make my PS2 96. You'll keep your mask the same. In your gateway, you can just make this all zeros along with your DNS server. You want to set your IP address to what your Samba server is, which in our case is 192.168.0.95. You'll keep the port the same. Your share is going to be what you named inside of that SMB config file. The user is going to be DW. And the password is going to be 123. You're going to go ahead and save your changes. And you see that it has successfully changed the settings. Then you'll go to the main settings. And the only thing that you need to mess with is Ethernet start mode to auto and your default menu to Ethernet. You hit OK. And don't forget to save your settings again before you exit out, as they will be reset again if you do not, and your games will show up. Just keep in mind, if you're installing this onto an existing server, you could run into some issues. Just follow the guide to a T as possible. Obviously, you can change the name of the user, the SMB user and such, but if you've already got a server set up for certain things or something along those lines. So like, say for instance, I don't have a firewall installed onto this new server, but let's go ahead and install it. Now that it is installed, let's go ahead and allow SSH through the firewall. Now that we've allowed SSH through the firewall, we're going to go ahead and enable. So now that we've installed it, we're simulating whether we already had a firewall enabled on our server before we started this install. So just wanted to quickly add that this is the point on where you would diagnose what your issues are with the firewall. And it's going to tell you that it could disrupt the existing SSH, but I allowed SSH to the firewall, so that's why I did that before we enabled it. So now let's go over back to the PS2. And as you see, I did not save my settings before I exited, so I have to redo them. And as you can see, I cannot connect to the SMB server. Let's head over back to the PC to troubleshoot. We're going to allow Samba through the firewall. And we're also going to allow the specific IP from the PS2 through the firewall. Now the rules are set to allow Samba as well as the IP address for the PS2 through the firewall. So we're going to head back over to the PS2 now. And now you see we now have access again to our games. But other than that, it's pretty much it. And the game should boot up pretty easily. Now you should be able to disconnect any displays and put it in the corner of your room and let it run 24/7. Be able to play any games over your home network. Yep, see it's running just fine. But that being said, thanks for watching. If you have any issues, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.